and you know, I'm in shape, and I will do it.
Absolutely.
But
you know,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. So back to peeling back the curtains. Let's
Peel back the
peel back
curtain.
these curtains.
Peel back the curtain.
I have my own views in terms of where we are with women in politics, and I think it's a challenge. But you have a political experience that is apropos. There was a point in time when you stood up against your own party, and you took a shellacking for it, including the installation of a city administrator.
Yes.
And you were very vocal. In fact, you in fact made a reference to the then Prime Minister, which I can't repeat because if I do, Marlene will kill me. But for sure, there was a fallout.
Yes.
And then in thinking about it, there's a parallel between Belmo Pansmere, her indication that she was standing up, her indication that it was because she's a woman, she also made other accusations as well, and her as well calling out her Prime Minister. How much does gender play in these fallouts between female candidates and their party? And what does it say about women in politics that are successful?
Very good question.
I know, I ask it. I'm joking.
No, we're coffee for Kevin.
I'm joking.
Listen, when I got in, they knew my position, they knew my experiences. But getting in, and this is where the tokenism, there's a certain, sometimes they will say, okay, they want you to come in and they think you're gonna play a role that they want you to play, okay? But when they find out that you're not just a token, you're not a token.
You're substance-based.
Yes, exactly, and you're willing to stand on principle. Listen, I'm not gonna call issue or anything, but listen, March, I won, right? For some March, I won. And by April, I was already head-to-head with the leader at the time, right? There's something he wanted me to get done, and I told him, no, we could not get it done. And I told him the reason. And I was very firm.
So just like Belmopan?
Yeah, I was very firm why we couldn't do it. The council just couldn't afford it. And because I didn't go ahead with what he expected me to do, I did run under a party banner, a political banner.
You could say it on a UDP slate.
I was, you know, sometimes they feel that, you know what, we're not going to take that. You're going to get penalized. You're a woman, you have to stay in your lane, you understand? And that was not me. They knew who they were getting. They knew I wasn't just
going to sit quietly.
Yeah, they knew I wasn't just a person. I had never engaged with them at that level. So they knew fully well who was out there, who they tried to recruit. So my point, what I want to tell you though, as my good friend, Sharon is my good friend, right? I used to call her Sharon way before. We're good friends, actually very good friends, old friends. She herself, I saw her getting into those positions. Now, as a woman, it would have been very easy, and I always say it would have been so easy had I just towed the line and say, okay, all right then, no problem, and you run the ship. My life would have been easier. I probably would more than likely have gone on to national politics.
Prime Minister and party leader.
I would have been at that level.
This is you talking about it from somebody that ran on a slate, ran under a particular banner and so forth. But we haven't seen much luck either with the independent candidates. And for example, I believe last municipal election we had persons like Miss Anita Banner who ran independently by herself, and she did not make it, unfortunately. And now we have this year Teacher Anita from BPP in PG, who also seems to have quite the following as well. She has a lot of backings from different sponsors and so forth. But do you then think that having somebody that had that independence could be able to do away with some of the progress or some of the, I guess, decisions that they wanted to have at the time? Do you really think that that would have helped in any kind of way?
Yeah, it could have. However, it is utilized. I believe it could have. And in her case, you know, I have been following her a bit. You know, I'm a part of a group, and sometimes they throw in her
There's a secret group of political association for female politicians.
There's a
maybe.
There's a particular group. at that time,
It's
a part of.
It's like a lodge, like big thing they happen.
You want to join?
And
I would.
and I see her there, and she definitely seems like a nice person. And she's there at nights. I see photos of her, and she's really grinding.
Yes, she is. She
She's
really is.
grinding, and definitely, I've heard she has a very good personality, and that helps. Now, PG is a little bit different.
Everybody said about PG.
It is different, and it's like when I've always lived in Belize City. Then I had moved to Belmopan when I was working with government. I remember when I first went to Belmopan, I was walking along, and they said, "Good morning," and everybody was, "Good morning, good morning." I was like, "What the hell is this? What is this?"
Yes.
I wasn't used
That's
to
the
this
real
thing.
Belize. That's the real Belize.
Yeah, but I wasn't used to this. Man, I'm from Belize City. You understand? We don't tell people good morning like that.
Sister Moya, and before I get to that, you really want to answer this question or ask her right after this interview that we have.
Because we are speaking all about Women's Month and women in politics. We do have a interview with Honorable Dolores Balderramos Garcia.
Yes.
We're here at the Sacred Heart Primary School with returning officer, Miss Rutilia Gabriel, and she has some statistics and breakdowns for us throughout the day. Rutilia?
Okay. So for polling area 72 to Sacred Heart College, at 12 noon, we had a total of 605 persons who have voted out of the 2,187 for polling area 72. That is 27.7% voter turnout up to 12 for that area. Then polling area 73, which is Sacred Heart Primary School, at 12 o'clock, we had a total of 1,491 persons out of 6,561, which is a percentage of 22.7 voter turnout up to 12 noon. At Santa Elena Primary School, polling area 76, at 12 noon, we had a total of 1,123 persons out of 4,961. That is 22.64% voter turnout for that area. Overall, for the San Ignacio Santa Elena municipality, out of the 13,729 voters, we have a percentage of 23.45% voter turnout.
Okay, Ms. Rutilia, looking at the statistics for 2021, I think we had a little bit about 55.5% turnout for the day. Would you say it's a little bit underwhelming, or at least under average or as expected for halfway throughout the day?
We have at least, I think this was a 12 o'clock count, right? So after this we have 6 more hours. So if I compare the last municipal elections voter turnout, which was something like 55%, we're at 23. I feel that we will have about the same amount, the same percentage of voter turnout.
Just basically a push is expected to happen throughout the day. Thank you, Ms. Rutilia. I know you're very busy. Thank you once again. For the Channel 5 team, reporting from Cayo, Jose Sanchez.
All right, thank you so much, Jose, and thank you so much, Returning Officer Rutilia, for those stats over there at the western area of the election. So I am here with some beautiful numbers. I am no Brighton, but I will do my best to provide some updates. So far within the hourly countdown, as of 1:30 p.m., we have 28,303 ballots casted, with San Pedro Town at 29.11% at the most votes, and with Dangriga Town at 22.61. We have Belize City at 29.01 and so forth. But it's a testament to the number of The differences from the last municipal election, where I'm not sure if you were here, Kevin, during this time, but we had Dr. Harold Young talking about Corozal being the one that had the highest percentage of voters coming out. But of course, we were in a pandemic at the time. Now we're seeing more persons coming out in San Pedro, more persons coming out from Belmopan. And Dangriga, we could use a little bit more voters coming out. But that has been the stats up as of 1:30 p.m. And of course, you all can head on over to the Elections and Boundaries website where you can see these stats in real time.
Excellent work, April.
And I noticed that Dangriga has stayed at the bottom.
Yes,
right through.
They have been at the bottom consistently.
Belize City just fell to third place. They have consistently been in first place. I'm hoping Belize City moves on up. You know, so I'm hoping more people will go out and vote. Everybody throughout the country, try and go out. If you know of anyone who can vote, try to get them, encourage them to go vote. It's important, you know.
So,
go ahead, Kevin.
So, first of all, big up Channel 5 for taking a technology leap. You know, big up the CEO. But speaking on the theme of women, we have an interview from Minister Dolores Baloramos, who is not necessarily, her constituency is not attached onto any municipality, but surely all hands are on deck for all political parties. So let's go to this interview with Minister Baloramos, who's in Belmopan.
3, 2, 1. Minister, you are in Belmopan. First of all, tell us what made you decide to come down this side.
Well, I wanted to give moral support, mainly to Belmopan, because it is the second largest constituency in all of the country. And I wanted to show the moral support, but also to help. And so I am working with Ms. Contreras today. We have brought out voters, we have delivered food, we have done logistics, and we have managed to go around to all the polling areas. I myself didn't realize that Belmopan is so huge. And of course, with the voters list that is the second largest in the entire country, I felt it important to come and give the support not only to the women candidates, but also to the team as a whole. You know, my team as such from Belize Rural Central are working in the Collet division of Belize City today. But I felt that it would be good if I could show my face here, again for the moral support, but also helping. Because I am a person that on election day, I don't like to sit still. I like to be moving around, making sure that the voters are coming out. And I have to tell you, I remember back in 2020 when I was asked for an interview, when my name was on the ballot in Belize Rural Central, I told them I will not give an interview because it's the voters who speak today.
Wow.
But I can give you a little comment here that I believe that I see a good direction today. I'm seeing the voters coming out. I'm seeing the energy of the team, the logistics of what is happening, and I like the organization that I have seen. Mind you, I am never overconfident. I think that they have to work right up to 6 o'clock. When the line closes, you know, you could have 100 people in the line, and at 6 o'clock the policeman get behind. But I have a good feeling about Belmopan.
No.
Cautious optimism though, because you can never ever take anything totally for granted. And I am of the George Price school that election is won on election day, and you have to work for every single last vote to bring it out. But we are here to support the area rep Oscar Mira. We are here to support the entire team of Mr. Kawich, of course including the women, you know, and I made a point of calling each and every one of our women candidates of the PUP, all 22 of them, to offer words of encouragement and support, and asking them to work hard to make sure that we bring in the vote across the 9 municipalities of our country, the 2 cities and then the village councils, the town councils of the other areas like Punta Gorda, Dangriga, etc.
Here's a question, and you're a good person to ask this. We often see these tents and see some logistical work taking place. What's happening under these tents? Help our viewers understand.
Yes. You'd be surprised how much is happening. It's not only people congregating around in t-shirts, whether red or blue. It is a situation where you must have your voters lists. You must be able to encourage the people who come up to your table. First of all, be able to find them on the list, give them a voting number, give them that last encouragement to vote for your team. And really, what you're also doing is you're scratching off who all are coming, so that the teams out in the field don't have to duplicate efforts because they know that Mr. Kal or Mr. Chobo is here already, has come out already. Okay. So, and I mean, this comes from years and years of political experience, you know. Like I say, I wish my team were with me here today, but I thought that it was best for them to be in Belize City, but I wanted to actually be here in person to give that full support, because I believe that Belmopan, we need to make sure that Belmopan comes in.
So I'm thinking for some people, signs of activity under one tent versus less under another tent, maybe some sort of indication as to support, but what have you been seeing in terms of turnout for the People's United Party?
Well, I'm seeing a good turnout. But I don't look on the other side on election day, you know. I want to know what is happening in my camp. And I am cautiously optimistic and gratified that I am seeing the kind of support and organization that can help to bring us in this evening when the last vote is counted.
Minister, all the best. I hope you stay hydrated and stay cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Yes.
All right, that was a lovely interview by Minister Dolores Valderramos Garcia. She's over there in Belmopan, hyping up the place, it seems. But we are joined by another panelist. Welcome, Miss Demi Williams.
Thank you for having me.
Marketing consultant and commentator extraordinaire. I had to say it. I had to put it out there.
It's kind of what I'm known for.
Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We're still here with former Mayor Zenaida Moya. And Kevin, I know you have questions. So Troy, straight in.
Before I do that, I have to comment on the obvious. You know, notice that I'm being outflanked by women while I'm asking questions about women. So, you know, they, on purpose, they're making sure that I can't ask scandalous questions, because if I do, I'm getting
Who say you can't ask scandalous questions? Nobody give you them barriers over here.
I'll take licks from the right and licks from the left.
But it's also Women's Month, so lest we forget.
So it wouldn't just be from us. It would be like, you know, over 25,000 views.
True.
Just tossing that out there.
Yep, to the money.
But yes, we have former Mayor Zenaida. We were having this conversation about women in politics.
And you know, Demi, it's, you know, we're kind of peeling back the curtain in terms of women's perspective in politics. And, you know, we were just tasking the past mayor in terms of her insight and her experience as one of the successful stories in terms of politics in general. But my next question really was, because I like to make it very local and very relevant. Yes. We were having an off-camera conversation in relation to the choice that the mayoral candidate in Belmopan for the UDP took to attach herself to the area, the standard bearer for the United Democratic Party, John Saldivar, and the consensus was that that was a huge mistake. But so what that led me to was the question of alliances. As a woman, how do you make alliances to get your progress so that you're seen not necessarily for your gender, but seen for the substance of who you are? Because Ms. Burns is a pretty well-spoken, pretty well-accomplished person in her own right. And for the views of a lot of the commentators who were here was that she just committed an unforced error in aligning herself with that. But what are your views in terms of female alliances in politics?
And you know, Jackie, with fairness, she was one of the women who had taken, done one of the courses in National Women Leadership, political, you know, course that I had done under the UNDP, right? And Win Belize. So she knows different things, because it was months of training, and she knows certain things that can help and cannot help. Clearly, however, for her to have aligned with John is because she felt comfortable aligning with John. That's her friend. That's her mentor. They are good friends. I believe John has been there. He was the era rep.
Absolutely.
When she came on board, she got a lot of support from him. And I'm going to tell you this.
Boss it, boss it.
I'm going to boss it.
Boss the bubble.
When John spoke about tranches, all right, just about most of the area representatives have gotten tranches in some form or fashion. I'll be frank with you, PUP, UDP, I won't say VIP and those entities. I'm going to say the two major political parties. So when you talk about tranches, it was a name that was given and it was used, all right? He took monies. Now, whether or not he understood how and from how those monies were being derived, I'm not sure. As a politician, you get finances, campaign finances from different areas. The party does not normally give you money.
No?
They don't unless you're that token, unless you are that favorite person unless you're that favorite person. I am telling you for a fact, at least.
I thought a big bag came from Fat Joe. And then you go to a spot and
now
you just
speak about a bag.
money.
Exactly. Now that bag.
That happened?
That bag. Hey, that bag, tranche, however you want to call it, bag, tranche, political finance, whatever nice sweet name you want to give it. That particular money that he says was used for sporting and so forth. I have spoken with so many politicians, and including him. And I know for a fact that with fairness, and I'm not taking up for John, I'm telling you, as you know, he has been somebody who has wanted leadership for so many years. It's a fact, man. You know that. Umpteen years, John has wanted leadership. And so John has always tried to get on, bring on persons, you know, that he hoped would be alliance to him. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when he won, if and when, and he did win, to become a party leader, he would have had those persons through his efforts helping them with campaign financing so that they could win and they could support him. Listen, politics is nasty, and he knew fully well that he needed it. The tranche now is the bad name that he got. Jackie, with fairness to Jackie had, even before that name tranche came up, Jackie was already good friends with John. Jackie is from Belmopan. John is from Belmopan, and they have a long history in terms of being friends.
But do they have the support? And that is my question.
That right there. And for Mr. Saldiva, it was more than just the tranche. Because let's call a spade a spade.
That's true.
There were many things that were questionable about his character. And I understand. I hear you when you said that they're very good friends.
Yeah, they are.
Show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. So I think that there is a level of cognitive dissonance, and that keeps popping up in my head as it pertains to people getting too aligned with Mr. Saldiva. In fact, I agree that there's the possibility that both sides of the table, the red and blue coin, may have taken tranches. Unfortunately, Mr. Saldiva was made an example with that.
That's it.
He was made the example with that. And he became the sacrificial lamb.
Yes.
And ultimately what the UDP needed to do was to respect the public's opinion on it, the wider population on it, and tell Mr. Saldiva you need to take a seat. You can support us, but we can't have you in public. So Ms. Burns, and I live in Belmopan, Ms. Burns aligning herself with someone who many Belmopan residents see as a pariah because of his reputation.
Yes.
She, in fact, contracted the same disease. It was political suicide, as far as I'm concerned.
Sorry, April. So, I mean, we're in the thick of a very gloves-off conversation, but we also right now have an interview by Howell Gillett, who is in San Pedro. So let's run that, and these leaders are heating up.
That's right.
Let's go.
Again, reporting from San Pedro for Channel 5's election coverage for this municipal elections. I have with us Deputy Assistant Commissioner Mr. Howell Gillett, and he is overseeing the operations on the island today to make sure that everything goes smoothly. Sir, has it gone smoothly for the first half of the day?
Yes, so far it's going good policing wise. We have our contingency plans to address any eventuality. We don't expect anything major to happen as a result of what we have in place. So far, there's no report to us that anything has gone wrong, but our officers, as you have seen, are in place. We the community itself is abiding by the laws. Today is a special day in terms of it's an election, but also there are some restrictions for liquor premises, and everybody, in our view, is abiding by it. And if not, if we are alerted to it, then we address it right away.
Okay. Have you had to put any measures in place thus far?
No. Prior to the elections, we had the meeting with the community, and in my view, and based on what I'm being told by our officers, everybody is abiding by what is in place. So we don't expect anything major to happen to disrupt or impede the election process.
I note that, and this has come up on several discussions, that San Pedro has a traffic problem or challenge. Have you given that consideration if in the eventuality you do have an incident or something you need to respond to, that traffic doesn't become another issue you have to,
well,
or a hindrance?
The main thoroughfare, they're the ones that have the traffic traveling at a slow pace, but we have other routes. Our officers know how to respond if there's a major incident without getting into the exact plan that we have. But yes, indeed, that has been taken into consideration, the traffic situation.
Tell us what the plan is for when the polls close later on.
Well, at 6 p.m., the police officer at the 2 polling stations will get in the line, and nobody will come after him, and then we will wait until the election and boundaries put all the ballots are sealed, and then we will transport them to one location where the counting will happen at the other school, at the high school.
Okay. Is there any indication you have any ideas more or less how long it will take, or you have your officers out, you have to have them out?
Well, first of all, we are people-centered, so our officers, those who are working now, will get a break, and then a new set of officers will come on from later today until the polls are closed, and then we'll have another set of officers who will work the counting itself. But according to the election and boundaries personnel that we've spoken to, it shouldn't go extremely long as we've seen in other elections.
Okay. Thank you so much for giving us a few minutes of your time, Mr. Gillett. Again, the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Howell Gillett, talking to us and giving us some information as it pertains to how the police have been managing or keeping the peace here on San Pedro. Reporting for Channel 5's Municipal Coverage 2024, Marian Ali.
So much, Marian. And from San Pedro, we shoot right up to Corozal, where Dwayne has an interview with Area Representative Hugo Pat.
You know, it's just after that 2 o'clock hour, and we're seeing that the numbers are coming in. You know, over 2,100 persons have voted in the Corozal town area, and I'm here with the deputy party leader for the United Democratic Party, Mr. Hugo Pat, and he's saying that, oh, you know what, we're going to see more people coming in, right, sir?
Indeed, that is the case. You know, today is not a public and bank holiday, so to say, and so you would have, we got notice that there are a number of employers who are allowing their their employees to come out at 3, some at 4, giving them some window for them to be able to vote, and so that is a big help for us. What I can tell you is that the numbers are coming. You won't see the long lines here. The voting has been steady, and so we're just waiting on the later ones for us to be able to pick up whatever is coming in.
You know, from this morning I was tracking it, and I seeing that it's roughly about 300 plus persons coming every hour on the hour. That's good. It's steady. That means they're coming out.
Indeed. The biggest challenge right now we have is from people coming from the old districts, and so that is the biggest challenge we have in terms of timelines. I'm not certain that we will be able to make it, but we are there, keeping track of everything that's happening from our end. We are doing what we need to do, and so we're pretty much on pace as to what needs to be done.
Sir, I think your party leader went on media and said one of the back Corozal. Is this what's going to happen?
Well, look, I don't want to preempt anything, but as I said earlier in an interview I gave, the people of Corozal and the people of Belize are punishing. The high cost of living under this government is excruciating. If you talk particularly to the mothers and to the single mothers, it is a big challenge for them to be able to cope with all the expenses and having to take care of kids. Whenever they get that paycheck, I could tell you, it is a big task. And while you understand that prices worldwide are going up, but Lord man, people in this country know fool, they know exactly what is happening. Every day you see the price of fuel going up. I don't know if the government does not understand that anytime you increase the fuel, it has a trickling effect. Everything will go up as a consequence of elevating the price on fuel. But, you know, GOB has taken the tax on fuel as their piggy bank. So if they need money, all they do is increase the price of fuel.
So you're saying that today voters are coming out to vote based on issues and not necessarily party color.
Exactly. Issues that are affecting them directly. Issues that are affecting them on their pockets and affecting their family.
Sir, I have to ask in terms of the machine. I know normally when the general elections, this is one of your locations here. And so you're out here today, right here at Guadalupe RC School. What is the machinery looking like to get people out for you?
From our end, everything has been organized. We have gotten in touch with everybody that we need to get in touch with. So I could tell you that everything has been smooth sailing for us.
And then I have to ask, we've seen that, well, there are some predictions, although preliminary, there are some predictions that, you know what, the UDP is going to take some municipalities. What's your take on that?
Well, look,
I have to ask.
The simple reality is people then punish. And whenever you have a people that they punish, obviously they have to react to what is happening. And understandably, I mean, the sentiments are out there. It's not Lugopat saying it, you know. It is the feeling of the people out there on the streets. So I have always said, we have a government that has a mirror in front of them. They're looking at themselves, but they fail to realize the realities of the people.
So you're not going to make any predictions?
At this point in time, no. I'll let the people talk.
All right, then. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, John.
All right, there you have it, guys. That is...
¿Sabes cómo estamos? Efe, ¿sabes? Thanks for venir, okay? Oh, sorry.
So welcome back. These guys are having way too much fun today. You know, we just had an interview from the standalone successful candidate in the national elections for United Democratic Party, and we're going to kind of skip over back to Belmopan. We're going to kind of refocus a little bit on the councillor candidates, one for the People's United Party and one for the United Democratic Party, and they'll run a bit back to back. So let's enjoy that interview.
Hi, ma'am. Can we have your first and last name, please?
Miss Christina Chacon.
Miss Chacon. Miss Chacon, you are in your community right now. I would imagine you've been stationed here since this morning?
From 6:30.
Wow.
Yes.
To talk a bit about what the turnout has been like and what the conversations with residents in this area has been like for you.
The conversations during our campaign has been that they didn't want to come out and vote at all because they were disappointed with PUP. But we try to convince as many, you know, their vote is their voice, so we need to have them out here, and they have been coming slowly, but they have been here.
This is one of the areas with the smallest amount of registered voters in the city of Belmopan. This is Belmopan West. What is it that you and your team are doing to bring out voters?
Well, we're going to their houses and asking them and having them come. They really don't want to come out, but we are still, you know, having them come out.
Yeah.
Come out and have them put their voice out.
Is it a bit disappointing to you that residents feel that way?
Not really. The people that have told me they will come, they have showed it. So I'm expecting more.
We are approximately 3 hours away from the polls being closed. How confident do you remain compared to this morning?
I have been confident from last night's parade.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been bright all day. I'm just taking a little shade because the sun was very hot. But yeah, I'm very confident. People want the change.
Shakon, all the best and thank you for the
Thank you
interview.
very much. Thank you very much.
My brother, first of all, let's talk a bit about what the energy has been like for you across Belmopan throughout the course of today. It has been a good energy so far. The turnout is a little bit slow this morning, but it's starting to pick up as we go along. This is your first time running for anything that has to do with politics. Is this day turning out the way you expected it to be? Well, it's turning out better than I expected. I know in the past there have been some tensions when it comes to the election day. It's quite calm in Belmopan, and that's a good sign. Yeah, I mean, it's a sign of what Belmopan really is at the end of the day, that quiet and calm city. Talk to me a bit about the turnout and what you guys are seeing for the People's United Party. I think our supporters are coming out. So far, like I said, this morning was a little bit slow, but it's starting to pick up. I think this afternoon we're going to see a majority of our supporters out. We're confident. We're just going to wait until the results are out. What part of the machinery are you working? For me, my focus right now is just to greet the people, the residents of Belmopan, and encourage them to come out. I'm not trying to tie myself up into too much. We have a strong machinery. They are taking care of logistics and so forth. And I have a lot of confidence in our team. This is the day when elections are won. Do you feel as if enough has been done on your part to allow Belmopan residents to get to know who you are and to introduce yourself to them and to build that confidence in them about your candidacy? Well, for me, I am someone that's very well known in Belmopan before politics. Politics is just a new avenue that I'm taking, and so I think a lot of people say election is one on the day. I can agree to a certain extent, but when you have a team with good character and people that's well known within your community, then you already got a head start. My brother, all the best to you and thanks for this interview. All right, thanks.
Wonderful there. Thank you so much, Paul. I want to say thank you to all our correspondents that are out there getting us this feed, ensuring that we get these interviews right to you in your homes.
April, can we also say thank you to the public servants?
Oh yes,
who are returning officers, the police officers who are out there, the good ones.
Yeah.
all the polling officers, all the hard work that came before this, the media houses. This is democracy completely alive, and everybody is putting all hands on deck.
And since we're saying thank you, just so much to big up to our Channel 5 crew that has been working tirelessly in the background, ensuring that we bring you full coverage from this year's municipal elections. And I do want to switch gears a little bit because we're having a little bit of chit chat during the commercial breaks and so forth. And one of the things that Demi brought up, which I was like, we should have had this conversation where we're talking about what's different this election. And we're talking about, being post-COVID and so forth and the numbers. But you said something that stuck, and it said, why are we marketing this municipal election as if it was a general election? And I thought about it. I thought about the ads, I thought about the campaigns and so forth. So let's get your thoughts as a marketing consultant.
As a marketing consultant, I think that there was a lot of points that were missed on both sides of the river in what they could have discussed on their campaign trail. I looked at all of the ads that were out and I'm like, why am I hearing about national issues and it's a municipal election? So what does a municipal election should be campaigned upon? I want to know what was going on the community level, and these things weren't spoken of. And I get it. This election is a litmus test for the PUP and the UDP on what they could face off on for next year. But in that, especially if you're not a first-time voter, you're completely confused on what you're voting on. Exactly. You're totally confused. Because even this morning at the polls, having conversations as you walk your community, people that talk about, well, the price to go up on this and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, rightfully so, yes, but that is not what we're voting on today. And I think we missed the boat entirely on what the election was supposed to be about.
I really think for the polls and for the tally of certain results and stuff, I would have wanted to get a gauge of the age range of voters, because those of us that seem to be a little bit more informed are those that have been glued to the news, glued to social media, seeing all of these political ads and so forth, but talking about certain issues. I wanted to see what they would be talking, and I'm not just talking about a youth vote, I'm talking about the ones that are looking at this election.
Well, oddly enough, if we're talking about looking at the election, a lot of what was put out there wasn't geared towards the majority of the electorate either. And I had this conversation with the independent mayor candidate for Belize City, and I told him, are you looking for the young people where they are? Are we? Did we do that? Because I consider myself young and okay with nobody say.
Well, Harold isn't here, so
I'm just saying. And I do not watch television. If I see a commercial, that's my time for head out, try to get something to eat, come back, mute the TV at that.
Agreed.
We are the generation that streams for a reason. So why would you do a political ad for me? You'd waste your money at that point. Ultimately, you need to meet me where I'm at, which is on social media. And frankly, that is where I did not see any artillery being pushed. And okay, when nobody said TikTok is the most dangerous marketing app, it is a conversation that we have in every marketing meeting where it's like, it's insidious the way how the algorithm works. Whether you like it or not, in marketing, you cannot avoid it. Can't avoid it. It's like the banners that you put on the street. I was sitting there, of course, because I'm not a hermit. But if you're talking about your media that you want people to see, then I want to say reels. I wanted to see TikTok.
Right, because then how do you present yourself as a candidate here during our Open Your Eyes segment for the past month? We've been having Meet the Mayoral candidates from each municipality, and then that goes towards the persons that do watch the morning show or persons that will rewatch the morning show eventually. But to say, I understand the profile of your candidates, did not see that.
And in fact, oddly enough, some of these names on these ballots, the first time I saw them was when I went into the ballot booth. Some of these people I have not seen, and I was very vocal on my social media about it, and I said, if anybody wants a vote from me,
tell me.
And the other 5 people registered at my house, got a 6 we accounted for, I need to have a conversation with you.
Absolutely.
If you say that you're part of the working class and you can't make it out because, going house to house might be cumbersome for your schedule, meet me on WhatsApp. Visibility wasn't there for many of them, and this goes across the board. And that's scary, because at that point they're like, you to tell me I become a down the line voter. I supposed to vote for you just because you to rock with a certain color.
But this,
I can just jump in because I want to throw some gasoline on this.
Sure.
In sitting down preparing for the conversation, I did not know I was going to have it with 3 ladies, or I would have taken out one of the points. Because Miss Moya, they watch people on my shoulder, and I'm afraid. But, one of the points in terms of, I have a list of the top 5 things that disappointed me coming up to today. And at number 5 on my list was really the absence of youthfulness in this campaign. It feels like, I look at all the faces of the candidates and they're very young, but the campaigns feel very old. The closest thing that I found to something that was progressively new was the QR code manifesto by the UDP in Belize City. But apart from that, it feels as though the campaign is it smells of mothballs, and I think it's because the older heads are still in control. They haven't let go their parties respectively
so it's like
to the young people.
But it's not even about that. So it's one of those things where, for example, we just got mandates yesterday from some of these municipalities and what they're standing for.
And that's what I wanted to say. The COVID, I had said before, I've seen the ads, just like what you rightly mentioned, and none of them was focusing on what the municipalities were doing. Actually, none of them. Like bits, tidbits here and there, they're going to show a little guard. That was very, very minuscule. It was clearly focused on national issues. Now, COVID did play a role. And you are seeing now that people, listen, there were lockdowns, people couldn't work, people weren't eating in some instances, they were unemployed, their kids were out of school. So there's a remnant. That has impacted this election. Whether or not we see it, it has. If we did not go through that lockdown, people then would have been okay with discussing about, oh, the street, this or, oh, the garbage in pickup man, there was no garbage in some instances, you know, in certain places. You understand? So it impacted greatly, and it's at the national issues then that we're facing that has come to the forefront.
So then are we utilizing election finances intelligently? Are we distributing them properly?
I would say that's subjective.
Okay.
And it depends on who you're asking in particular about that. Asking me, I would say no. I would say no, it wasn't.
Why? Why? That's my
okay.
The only important question in the world is why.
I will look at their marketing budget because I'll speak on that, the money that you're spending on marketing. And anybody who works in marketing knows that print marketing costs way more than any other marketing that you're doing. So we're spending all this money to print T-shirts, which banners that
flags.
Your opponent ends up ripping them off anyhow. Where would line the streets with flags and stuff. And if we look at what other nations have been doing going into elections, I've been in the United States for an election before, not to compare Belize to the big old USA.
We better.
But there is not a single banner to be found. And they have a wider population to reach.
Absolutely.
Why? Because the money could be spent marketing otherwise.
But this goes back to the point that I was making, which is that the old guards, as we call them, are still running and have tight control of the party. I think both political parties are insecure to release the parties to the young people. And that's why...
And they don't generally do it.
That's why
wild.
They don't
do it. It's contradictory because when it comes to them wanting youth voices, they definitely know how to use us to their advantage for youth tokenism. But when it comes to actually putting young people in a real position of leadership to take on the reins, that's where we see the most resistance. And one in two things always ends up happening. Either they rein it in perfectly and they flip that youth voter and they become so indoctrinated in the old guard's way of things, or that person can't stay up on the ship anymore and they go about their business.
I'm curious, right? I sat down, had a little bit too much to drink, and you know, I sat down and I said, what are the top 5 issues in this that are at stake today? What are the top 5 issues? And I want to share this list, and I want you guys to absolutely rip it apart. All right? Okay. But for me, if we can go to my top 5 issues, and these are just for me. And I put them from 1 to 5, 5 being, to my mind, the least important, and number 1 being the most important, and we're starting from the bottom to the top. To me, the first important, biggest issue is really election finances. And it's 2 ways. It's election finances for today, but performances in this municipal election dictate how the finance shows, how the business people will then contribute to the general elections.
Right.
And we've already seen that the issue of campaign financing and finances is a huge factor. Not only because we had in Belize City a major financial contributing political family in the Santi Castillo actually endorsing the opposite party, and that's not just an endorsement politically, it's also a financial statement. So the question is, how much does the result of this election affect the way that business people contribute? Because business people don't gamble with their money. So the performance of the political parties here will dictate how strong the push will be for the general election. So that for me was number 5. Number 4 for me was the issue of the utility of the municipal elections on a whole, because we seem to talk past the municipal elections completely.
They don't have the most voter turnout.
Right.
But I mean, there's an article by Godfrey Smith some years ago that was challenging the whole concept of municipal government. He said it was completely useless. It's just a very expensive barometer for national elections. And the work that needs to be done for municipal elections can be done by the extension of the central government rule, Ministry of Works, Ministry of Health. And the question was what utility the elections have. Based on the campaigns that are being run, they're basically saying it's completely irrelevant. Don't worry about issues of streets. Don't worry about the issues of garbage. Really and truly, if the bread costs $5 now, that is what you're voting for in terms of mayor. And so the question of utility of municipal elections is one. Another issue, which for me is four. Then, you know, I thought about it and I said, what about the scandalous, and you probably could comment on this afterwards, what about the scandalous possibility or the concept of, since it's so irrelevant, what if we had one general election, and after the general election, the party that was successful had a convention within its own party for who would be mayors?
To
form municipal bodies. Now, I understand the issues of accountability,
decentralization,
and the issue of decentralization. But what we have as a developing country, we can ill afford to have blind spots and black spots where I can sit down as a mayor and say, well, my central government not the so because I'm not the I can't do anything for Salinas, or I can't do anything for a particular area. And
but
so
we see that already.
No,
exactly. So that model, which is scandalous.
With the business community. The business community were my biggest supporters, and I was able, even without the support of the then Prime Minister, I got support from the business community. As a matter of fact, I think they were they'll push me through the business community.
But it shows that municipal government does not always have to rely on the full backing of central government.
Absolutely.
But we have that culture of thinking that one mirrors the other.
I mean, but we have seen you have municipalities that were different from the central government, and there was still progress to be reported.
Of course. Sorry
So,
about today, Kevin.
You're not sorry.
You say repeat
I'm personally the way to he reached to the top of the list.
Yes,
singing his sweet.
Sing the code, man. Sing the code. Think the happen. Yeah. But while we have you there, we have interviews from Penny. We have councillor candidates for both the UDP and the BPP. These are important interviews because down south Punta Gorda is one of the only areas where third parties seem at least numerically viable. In the last elections, they actually came in second. So these are interviews you really have to pay attention to.
That's right.
Let's take it away.
It's pushing.
Good afternoon. I'm Stefan Alberton. I'm here with
Kevin Chop,
councillor candidate, right?
Yes,
so,
sir.
Mr. Chop, how are you feeling today, Mr. Chop?
Yes, I'm feeling pretty confident, but I remain humble. You know, it will be left on to the people to decide who they want to see in office now.
Exactly, Mr. Chop. So now, if you would win, what could the PG people look out from you? Sorry.
Okay, what I have to offer is integrity and transparency. You know, that is something that have been missing from our leaders, and I believe that the people of Punta Gorda deserves it. You know, so that is something that I believe is key when it comes to managing the affairs of the town council.
All right, sir, and then last question. For those who aren't necessarily here but just need a little motivation to come out and vote, what you got to tell the people? Like?
Come out, exercise on the rights. You know, any idea, the people, the government need to know that the people are dissatisfied with, you know, all that is happening. Let us send them a statement that, you know, we are dissatisfied and that we need...
Janita, could you speak to us about the campaign trail? How did we get here today?
Well, I can say that for the most part, the campaign trail was very effective because we started off right here where we are today, and we put in our work here because this is the area of town that will determine what will happen in PG today.
Teacher Anita, being an independent party, could you speak to us about the challenges that you have faced, not only as an independent party, but as a female going in politics?
Let it go on the record, let it be reflected that the Belize Progressive Party is no longer the third party. Because last election, we defeated the United Democratic Party by the hundreds. Let that be reflected. We are not the third party. The United Democratic Party is the third party in this election because we defeated them in the last election. As a woman, it was challenging, But because I know the reality of PG, I see the pain of my people, I feel the pain of my people. We are in this struggle together. And if we see that there is a problem, instead of complaining about the problem, we need to fix the problem. We need to be a part of the change that we want to see about PG. In the 21st century, there is no need for us to complain, but we need to step up and step out when the time arises. And because I see the need for it, here I am today. I have started a peaceful movement that will unite our people, because all of us will benefit from what happened today. It doesn't matter if you are red, if you are blue. After all today, when the ballots are counted, all of us will come together to make PG the jewel of the South and the paradise of God.
And guys, you heard it live here. I'm Stefan Roberto reporting from beautiful Penny Punta Gorda for Channel 5's coverage of the Municipal Elections 2024. I am Stefan Roberto. Thank you, Teacher Anita.
Welcome, Stefan.
Teacher's got on a buck.
She does. She does. But we got to take a quick break. And when we come back, it's more of the Municipal Elections 2024 right here live on Channel 5. Don't go away.
This broadcast is brought to you by Spark, exclusive distributor by Unitex Company Limited.
The new wing of Belize Healthcare Partners Limited is the home of our newly expanded birthing room and neonatal unit. We understand that childbirth is a memorable experience for expecting mothers and their families. That's why the new unit was designed with your comfort and safety in mind. For the expecting mom, our spacious and well-equipped birthing rooms will create a comfortable and supportive environment for your labor and delivery. We also offer the option of water delivery in our birthing pool, allowing you to have a soothing and safe delivery supervised by experienced doctors and nurses. Our neonatal nursery is equipped with the latest technology and staffed by skilled and compassionate professionals dedicated to providing the best care for your newborn. At Belize Healthcare Partners Limited, we are here to support you every step of the way, from the moment you arrive until you and your baby are safe to go home. Belize Healthcare Partners, your leader in healthcare.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere.